So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're gonna take a look at a build that has been requested quite a few times, and that is a Pilfering Swarm Hydroid. So this is a one Forma build, and what we're gonna do with that Forma is add 1D right here. And the mods we're gonna add are Energy Siphon in the Aura slot. This fits the polarity and gives us 14 additional mod capacity, and it also gives us tons and tons of energy so we can recast Pilfering Swarm over and over and over again. For power duration, we're going to use Prime Continuity and Constitution. Now, Constitution is also nice because it gives us knockdown recovery, and when you add Handspring as well, you're going to jump up really fast, but that's very much a personal preference, so you don't need to use that. For power efficiency, we're going to add Fleeting Expertise and Streamline, and it would actually be better if you had it the other way around. So a lower ranked Fleeting Expertise and maxed out Streamline, but since I only have one Fleeting Expertise and it's maxed, it's not an option for me. And the reason why we want one of these mods to be lower ranked is because if we max out both mods, we're gonna go over the power efficiency cap. For power range, we're gonna add Stretch, and this increases the area where your tentacles can spawn. And of course, we have to add Pilfering Swarm, since this is a Pilfering Swarm build. And finally, we have our defensive mods, and I'm using both Redirection and Vitality. Now, if you're not worried about dying too much, or you're simply better at dodging than me, you can swap Redirection for something like Primed Flow. And that's actually what I used to run before I started farming Focus with this frame. But once I started farming Focus with this frame and I went up against higher levels, it felt really squishy without Redirection, so that's why I added it in. Now, Pilfering Swarm has been changed a while back, so the additional roll on loot isn't affected by power strength anymore, which was a huge nerf when going up against low-level enemies, but a huge buff when going up against high-level enemies, since you only have to ensnare the enemies with the tentacles rather than kill them to get extra loot. Now, the reason why I went for high power efficiency rather than high power duration is because, well, the tentacles are still really derpy. They like to spawn on the ceilings, on the roofs, high up on the walls where they're not really gonna do anything. So to get them in a good spot, you have to recast it many times. And that is a pain in the backside when you don't have a lot of efficiency. And I also like the playstyle of this build as well, because I can use Tentacle Swarm as a burst ability, because when you cast Tentacle Swarm, the tentacles will spawn underneath enemies and kill them if they are in range. And it's also a much more relaxed build, where if the tentacles spawn on the ceiling, you just go, meh, I'm just gonna recast them again, they only cost 25 energy. But when you're running a big dig damage build where they cost like 75 or even 100, and your tentacles spawn on the ceiling 3 times in a row, you're not gonna go, you know, it's fine. No big deal, was just 300 energy to do precisely 0 damage. Not mad at all, very calm right now. You're gonna get mad. Now, the reason why I'm not using a lot of Hydroid footage on my channel is because as soon as I spawn the tentacles, my frame rate drops like a rock. And I get some really weird stuttering, and it's really unpleasant to watch. So unfortunately, there won't be a lot of Hydroid footage. Now, here comes the question, who is better, Hydroid or Necros? And well, if you only want to use one of them, it's Necros, okay? Necros on his own is better than Hydroid on his own. But you can stack them because they each multiply loot in a different way. So you can still desecrate enemies that died while being ensnared by tentacles. So if you want to farm your balls off, go with 2 Hydroids, 1 Necros and 1 random frame if you want to go for regular resources. But if you want to go for rare stuff, take 1 Ivara, 1 Hydroid and 1 Necros. Let Ivara steal their loot, then ensnare them with tentacles and kill them while they're ensnared, and finally desecrate them. And that way, you're gonna get the max amount of loot from an enemy. So all in all, a fun build for a fun frame that will get you a lot of loot. And as always, I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.